Alright, this is the first scene, and the first shot is an extreme long shot, and it'll be about around 8 seconds, shot from a low angle, and you can hear distant voices. And then the second shot is about 3 seconds, and that's a long shot, and it'll be behind the three characters, and we're either going to go for an eye level shot or a very high angle, and the voices are just audible. And in the third shot, we see the father in a medium shot, medium long shot perhaps, and he's reaching down to pick up some mushrooms, and that'll be about 7 to 8 seconds, but towards the end of the shot, or the middle, it'll become a close-up. And then in the fourth shot, we have a medium 3 shot of the three characters, and that'll be about 4 seconds, maybe like a slight high angle, maybe an eye level shot, and there's some conversation, there's some dialogue. And in the fifth shot, he's showing them a mushroom that he's found, and he'll be explaining a little bit about them, and that'll be an extreme close-up, shot from a high angle. And then it will cut to an OTS of Sam, who is the father's son, looking at his father, and that'll be about set at eye level, that'll be about 2-3 seconds long perhaps. And then it will cut to an OTS of the father looking at his son and daughter, which should only be about 1 second, and that'll be a medium shot. And then in the eighth shot, we have a medium shot high angle, which is moved round from the seventh shot, so it's not quite an OTS anymore, and it's more of a 3 shot, but you can see that the father's looking at his son and daughter. That's about 7 seconds, something like that. The camera will, as I say, pan round from the 7th shot. Then in the 9th shot, it's, I guess you could say, a double OTS, as the camera's behind the son and daughter in between their two heads, and they're looking at their father, who begins to walk away, and that's about 2 seconds. And then it will cut to scene 2. That's about it.
Beautiful. Action.
Alright, this is the second scene. In the first shot, we see the father walk inside from the front door, which is on the right of this frame. And it'll be about a low angle, 2 to 3 seconds. It'll be a medium shot, and he throws his bag down on the table. I go to the second shot, which shows a reflection in the kettle of the father opening the door at eye level to close up, be about only 1 second. We should then go to the third shot, which with the camera should be inside the cupboard, which he opens in the second shot, and that would be an eye level shot, something like that, and there'd be a close up, but then go to a medium shot, and that'd be about 6 seconds, and in that he pours himself a drink, and he goes to turn music on, and then he walks past it, as you can see in the third arrow. That goes to shot 4, which is a medium shot, eye level, maybe a slightly high angle. That's about 6 seconds, and in that he takes the contents of his bag out, which is just a few mushrooms, on a chopping board where there'll be a knife and, you know, something like rosemary or something around to set the scene. That goes to shot 5, which would be an extreme close-up of one of the mushrooms, and that'll be about eye level, so quite level playing with the contents in the shot. That's only about 4 seconds, and with the knife he cuts the mushroom. And in the 6th shot, we see him. It's a medium shot, be about high angle, only about 1 second, and he eats the mushroom, and as he does so, he turns around into the 7th shot, which would be from his side, and that would be a medium close-up, maybe a medium shot, be about high angle, and that would only be a few seconds, and in that he turns on the joystick, he lights a joystick, and then he turns back into kind of the same shot, because the camera it won't cut, the camera will pan with him, and then pan back, and that would be about 10 seconds actually, and it will remain around medium shot. And then it'll go to shot 8, because after he ingests the mushroom, he starts feeling kind of disorientated and feverish, and like kind of paranoid, and it'll be a close-up, about 5 seconds, at quite a high angle to like show that he's kind of being oppressed, you could say, and he's sort of stumbling around a little bit. And then in shot 9, he supports himself on the sideboard, where he lit the joystick in shot 7, and that'd be about a medium shot, 4 seconds, about at a high angle. And we actually cut out this shot, which was looking at the time, and then this does a graphic match cut to a wood scene, and in which it's only about 1 second, maybe a half a second, and there's a medium shot of his son chasing his daughter. And then that suddenly cuts to a shot which would be the exact other side of shot 11, the chase scene, and his daughter Izzy has actually fallen in front of the camera and in a close-up, and then that will quickly cut to shot 13, which is an extreme close-up of at a very low angle, and we see him like knock over a glass that he was drinking from previously, and that smashes in front of him, and we can kind of see him stumbling around for a few seconds, but he'll be out of focus, and the shattered bits of glass will actually be in focus. It'll be quite a nice impression there, and that'll be a very low angle, as I say, and that'll be about 4 or 5 seconds. Then in shot 14, it's a POV shot actually, and we can see the father wandering through like a little hallway to what we later see to be his living room, and that's about 4 to 5 seconds, and during that shot it kind of fades in and out to black to suggest that he's kind of going in and out of consciousness, you could say. Then in shot 15, it's an extreme long shot which will zoom into a medium close-up and perhaps even a close-up, and that's about 8 seconds, and it'll be about eye level, maybe a high angle to just reinforce the idea that he's kind of like not in control. And again, that'll fade in and out of black, just suggests he's going unconscious. And then shot 16, which is the penultimate shot of the scene, it's a POV from when he's sitting in the chair, and it'll be about 3 seconds, and it's sort of very disorientated, very sort of like we're going to use some strong effects in the editing suite. And then in shot 17, because it's at the end of shot 16, it fades into black. Then shot 17, it fades from black, and you can see it's a POV again, and you can see the camera sort of crashing to the ground almost. Well, not the camera. You see the image crashing to the ground, and then it blacks out, and that's actually the end.
Action.
Alright, this is scene 3, and it begins with ELS to establish the setting, and it'll be about a rough high angle, maybe an eye level, only 3 seconds, and it'll show Sam sitting against a tree and his sister looking at him, and there'll be some dialogue. Then in shot 2, there's an OTS of Izzy looking at Sam. It'll be in a long shot, high angle again, only about 3 seconds, and we see Sam throw down a cigarette. In the third shot, the camera will kind of face the opposite direction as it was from the second shot, because they've started walking away. It shows just like a sort of log that's sort of suspended in the ground, as like they might do in a forest, and Sam will sort of step on the log and that'll spring up, and that'll be about a medium shot. You'll see from the waist down, and be about 4 seconds long. That will then get cut to a medium close-up of the two siblings, and be just from the side of Sam, looking at them at a slight angle, and that'll be about 6 seconds, and be at a slight high angle again. And there'll be some dialogue here, and we can see Sam looking at something, which then cuts to an extreme close-up of a mushroom, and only about 1 second. And then in the shot 6, which is a medium close-up, which is about a low angle, we see him pick up the mushroom that we did the eye match for in the previous shot, and continue walking, and that's about 3 seconds. And again, there'll be some dialogue. And then in shot 7, we see Sam eat the mushroom, and it'll be shot at eye level, about 7 seconds, and it'll be a medium shot, medium 2 shots. There's 2 siblings there, of course, and there'll be quite a lot of dialogue there. And it's that sort of when Izzy begins questioning Sam, as like, what are you doing? Why are you eating this? You're not experienced, that kind of thing. And towards the end of that conversation, just before he puts it in his mouth, it cuts to shot 8, which is an extreme close-up of him eating the mushroom. And then she gets a little bit more annoyed, sort of thing, and that's 1 to 2 seconds, and as I say, it's an extreme close-up at eye level. Then in shot 9, which is a medium 2 shot, and it'd be a high angle. That'll be about 10 seconds, because a lot of dialogue, and they're kind of like, it kind of heats up a little bit. They kind of get quite angry at each other, and Sam actually walks away. Then in the 10th shot, it's a high angle medium close up of Izzy, and she's sort of kind of frustrated. It shows her frustration quite a lot, and that'll be about 2 seconds. And then she looks up, because Sam's walked away in the previous shot, and she looks up, and it'll be done in POV, and it'll pan across the forest for about 10 seconds, and to basically show that Sam isn't there. She can't see where he's gone, so there's kind of sort of like, that creates a sort of like enigma, a bit of a mystery as to like where the hell her brother is, really. Then in shot 12, the next shot, be a bird's eye view of Sam actually walking up behind Izzy, who started sort of looking at her phone, or sort of like sort of playing around, something like that, and that would be an extreme long shot into a long shot, and that would be about 6 seconds. And towards the end of that shot, Sam's hand moves onto Izzy's shoulder, and just before they makes physical contact, it cuts to shot 13, which is a POV from Sam's point of view, and a hand hits the shoulder, and of course Izzy turns around quite suddenly from the shock, and that's only about 1 second and be at eye level. Then in shot 14, it's into a medium close up, and it's about 15 seconds, and there's some dialogue which would indicate that Sam's not quite right, that he's sort of gone into quite a strange state actually, and the camera pans from a medium close up into a ELS or just a long shot perhaps, and that'll be quite a low angle, and Sam's character is actually taller than Izzy, and that would then suggest that he's sort of oppressing her, sort of being quite domineering. Then in shot 15, which is a long shot again at extreme low angle for 5 seconds, we see, so there's been some dialogue in shot 14, we see Sam actually push his sister, and then in the next shot, and that's 5 seconds, so it begins with their sort of just standing there. It's almost a continuation of shot 14, and he pushes her towards the end of the shot, and then it cuts to a medium close-up, and it's an OTS of Sam looking at Izzy, and he reaches for her throat, and that the pace of the frequency of cuts actually quickens quite a lot there, and that's only about 1, maybe 2 seconds. Then in shot 17, it cuts to an ELS as she started running in shot 16, and Sam's chasing after her, so it'd be a long shot, something like that, only 1 second. It then cut to a POV of Izzy looking behind her shoulder, so she'll sort of turn like 180, her head will turn 180 degrees, looking over her shoulder at Sam, who's running after her, and there's quite sort of like menacing, you'll be able to see his facial expression, it'd be quite sort of menacing and violent, and that'll be again 1 second, and then the POV will turn back from Izzy's point of view again, and she'll sort of trip and fall, and that'll be really only half a second to be honest, and as I indicate there with the arrow going down, she sort of almost plummets to the ground, which then cuts to the shot of, for instance, if she were to fall that way, the camera would be facing where she's fallen, and that'd be at quite a low angle and be a close-up, and that'll only be about 1 second, 1.5 seconds, and we see her sort of like she's just hit the ground, and we can see her brother sort of running up, but he's sort of slowed down to like now sort of express that he's in command of the situation, you could say. That will cut to a POV from Izzy's point of view, and it will start with an ELS and go into a close-up as Sam gets closer to her, and that'll be at a very low angle as she's of course on the ground, and that'll be for about 8 seconds, and we can see her sort of scurry. It's sort of the camera will sort of scurry backwards almost to suggest us what she's doing. It will then cut to a POV from Sam's point of view, and we can see his arms as he's throttling his sister, and it'd be a close up or an extreme close up to really show like that vivid, strong expressions in her face as she kind of struggles for life, I guess. That'd be about 6 seconds, and then there's a POV from Izzy's point of view, and it sort of starts fading in and out of black, to suggest she's going unconscious, so essentially she's dying, and that'd be about 6 seconds, and towards the end of that shot she does actually die, and then because Sam's ingested the mushroom, he's actually not himself well, and he sort of stumbles around in a long shot, kind of a very high angle to sort of suggest he is now not himself in control, and that'd be a long shot, switching between long shot and medium close up for about 6 seconds, and we're going to perhaps use the same effect to sort of fading to black and sort of cross dissolve to show that he's sort of, he has really no control of himself, and we can actually see him being sick at the end of the shot, and then it's sort of very sort of like a prolonged cross dissolve to the next shot, shot 25, which is a medium shot into a medium close up from a high angle again, and Sam's actually collapsed almost onto all fours and is sort of like not actually able to walk anymore, and the camera goes from his side a little bit more towards front, and then it will cross itself perhaps again into a shot 26, which is the final shot of scene 3, and that would be a medium shot, medium close-up, which will for about 12 seconds actually zoom out, and we can see that he's sort of slumped to the ground. He begins crawling in that shot, and then he actually dies, and that'll be at eye level, and that's the end of scene 3. Alright, this is the fourth and final scene, and actually the shot itself, the initial shot itself picks up from the end of scene 2 when he's in a POV crashed to the ground. So it's that POV, and it's what you could say essentially the opposite, because he kind of picks himself up, but it's still very, very blurry in days, and that'd be about 7 seconds, and as I say, it's a POV shot. And then in shot 2, he's kind of stumbled back through the doorway into the kitchen area, and that'd be a medium shot, maybe a high angle to show that he's not in control, much like in the previous scene. That's for about 5 seconds. And then in the third shot, it's an ELS that goes into a long shot, and it will show him coming into the kitchen, and the camera will follow him as he leaves the kitchen to outside his house. That'll remain about eye level, and that'll be about 12 seconds as we then see him run past the window, because he's obviously imagined what's happened in the previous scene. And it will then cut to him when he's in the woods, and I was thinking of having a low angle shot, about medium close up for about 1 to 2 seconds, and it will show him, like, you'll see from his waist down, so he's running, and the camera will sort of follow him to the right as he runs past it. And then in the fifth shot just after that, that'll only be about 1 second, and that's a medium shot at about eye level, but it'd be quite low down, so it'd be really from like his waist, so you can really see his legs moving quite quickly, and be running towards the camera, you could say. Then shot 6, which is the penultimate shot. Well, actually, you could say it's the final shot, because shot 6 and what I've called shot 6.5 kind of really one shot in a way. And that's actually 26 seconds, and we see him kind of stop quite abruptly in the sort of similar scene in which his daughter Izzy died. And it's sort of like, it will show, so it will begin in a medium shot, perhaps a medium close-up, so you can see his facial expression, which will be quite sort of very vivid, very sort of shocked. And then as the camera moves back and zooms out into I guess a medium shot, a medium long shot, a long shot, then an ELS, it will you'll see him drop to his knees in front of his dead daughter, and that'll be the end of the film actually, and we'll go into like perhaps like a nice soundtrack for the end of the film to sort of conclude the piece, and that's scene 4 and our film.